What happens when law, business, and life collide? Each week on Lead Counsel, your host Tom Tona will take a deep dive into topics related to the law, the business of law, and life. There will be insightful discussions with industry insiders, experts, and thought leaders making significant contributions and meaningful differences in their fields of expertise. Tom is the founder and managing attorney at TonaLaw. He has been a practicing attorney since 1994 and the leader of TonaLaw since it opened in 2001. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with free information on law and the business of law, and to give you actionable tools related to each of these areas. Now, here's Tom.
Hey, welcome back to the Lead Counsel Podcast. Your host, Tom Tona. Before we jump into today's topic, I just want to take a minute to thank the sponsors of the podcast. This episode is sponsored by TonaLaw. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. TonaLaw is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out TonaLaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you. This episode is also brought to you by Meet Gabby, the voice AI built for law firms. Gabby answers your phones 24/7, qualifies leads, and books consultations so you never miss another client. Imagine cutting intake time in half or giving every caller a 5-star experience. That's the power of Meet Gabby. Learn more at meetgabby.com. Mention the Lead Counsel Podcast. You can also hit me up, and I'm glad to make an introduction to the owner. So today we have a special guest, Chris Earley, Massachusetts personal injury attorney. Chris is a good friend. Met him at a mastermind about 6 months ago, but we had been connected on LinkedIn for quite some time. Chris is a very well-known personal injury attorney in Massachusetts, and he's been a personal injury attorney and the owner of his own firm for almost 20 years. Chris has a really unconventional story in terms of his upbringing and his childhood that gave him what he thinks are a competitive advantage and almost superpowers, if you will. So he's really come to embrace the childhood that he had, and he's really leaned into it, and he's building a great business with a great team. So Chris, it's a tragic and fascinating story that you tell about your childhood. And when we were asking you, like, what are the top 3 things you want to go over during a podcast? You wrote down trauma, taking risks, and living the life you want. And I found that fascinating. So much so that I put it in my notes because trauma, I think, is part of everybody's life. And I think the extent of it varies. And then you got somebody like you, that's extreme trauma, right? I know extreme trauma. What is your view now of the experience you went through growing up as a kid? Like, what is the view of your life now looking back in the rearview mirror?
Blessing. You can look at life however you choose, but like that was a blessing. So you can look at adversity, brutal adversity as a blessing or a curse. And a lot of people look at it as a curse, blessing. Just about, just healing. But it's so easy, Tom, to stand out. This is sort of the marketing lesson for the listener viewer. If you're different in the marketplace, you'll grow as a business owner. Or a practitioner working for a business owner, it doesn't matter, like standing out. And so like I have for the rest of my life a tome or book of my differentiation. How are you different from the lawyers, right? We're all like very much the same, personal injury lawyers or whoever you are. But like your story is unique. I pound my chest time and say, share your story, lawyers, because there's such opportunity. But again, to answer your question, to go back, I look at all that as a blessing, not a curse. And I'm very, very grateful for that blessing, actually, super grateful.
What was I know what it was, but just describe it. What was the turning point where you were like, if I don't fix this, I'm breaking it?
Yeah, man. Great question. It was a process of discovery because I think all of us are one misstep from losing everything. I saw that in vivid detail, color, texture. Like I smelled it. I felt it. I saw it as a young boy. So yeah, you can fall from grace. You can be at the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. And I've seen it close. So see, in law school, your head is down. You're working so hard. All you know is law school and exams. I got out of that, started, hung a shingle. And then a few years, I was an angry lawyer. That can, the sick thing, Tom, that can be an accident as an angry lawyer. This guy's an edge, like he's a zealous advocate. Well, no, it's kind of unhealthy to be that way too far on the spectrum. And so I was leaning too far that way, but it was a process, again, meeting my wife, putting her coming from a more stable upbringing, right? At least more stable than mine, putting the mirror in front of me, showing me like, dude, you got to work on some things. Like, what are you talking about? This is just normal. See, you don't know what's abnormal. That's all you've ever known. So we need people to hold us accountable, right? Business owner doesn't have anyone. You just mentioned the business owner doesn't have someone holding the mirror. Like the organization's going to be toxic and unhealthy because there's no self-awareness, like you just mentioned earlier. So it's a process of evolution of falling down, getting up, falling down, getting up, which is life in and of itself. But a couple therapists sort of got me primed to grow, to improve. And then one therapist in particular, who I talk about towards the end, really kind of got me over that line. And I was like, oh, okay, you don't have to be miserable and angry.
Right.
It's not your fault. It's okay. Right. And I was like, oh, okay. And then what happens, like you're untethered. You're just untethered soul. I use that word. You're a little bit less tethered to that bad stuff. And then you can live a life that you're supposed to live, that you have a birthright to live, right? I believe strongly in that.
Quick break to thank Meet Gabby, the voice AI that answers your phone, screen leads, and books consults 24/7. They'll even send out retainers if the person on the other end of the phone asks for a retainer. If intake is slowing you down, check out meetgabby.com. This episode is supported by TonaLaw, a modern law firm built on integrity and innovation. Learn how they're changing the game at TonaLaw.com. Attorney referrals accepted from across the country. You'll see what it's like when you send us a case. You'll have some happy clients. How has doing the internal work changed your law firm?
Oh my God, Tom. I mean, your success as a lawyer, I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or you're working for a firm, is capped on your imagination, your creativity, your ability to dream. Talk about John Morgan. He talks about vision. I've learned so many things from John Morgan. I've had lunch with him.
Me too.
He is a wealth of knowledge. And he talked about luck, but vision. He talked about vision blockers. Just think about the vision blockers that I had, and I think, you can relate, right? Because we talk the same language here, right? You vibe with that. Blockers. How are you going to grow with blockers on? But then when I kind of released the blockers sort of went, I was like, oh, okay, I can see clarity. I can hear things better. Like Tom, I'm hearing his words. It's like, if I didn't know you and I thought you said something the wrong way, I'd challenge you to a fight. Like I talk about in the book, just like crazy stuff, man. But when you get that clarity, but like, I'm not there. Like I have like a million years it'll take to get there, but just being aware, like you have a lot to work on. But like, of course I'd be humbled, dude. Like I saw people lose it all. I would have to be humbled to be here today, to have an opportunity to do better. And it's all about my kids. That's why I wrote the book. It's written for them. So they understand why dad is the way he is, to give them inspiration so that they can lead whatever life they want to choose. The sky's the limit. But you can't cap. There's a lot of capping, if you will, or limitation in the law. We're supposed to do it this way. I say, F that. Why? Why is John Morgan successful? Because he's a renegade. He's different. Thinks different. He didn't grow up with a silver spoon, man. So I look at him, a guy that didn't grow up privileged. He grew up disadvantaged. And look what he developed. That to me is the blueprint that anything is possible, right? I'm not trying to be John Morgan. I'm just trying to be Chris Earley. But that's inspiration to me. Like you could really freaking crush no matter where you came from. But what can you dream about? I read it on LinkedIn almost daily, Tom. I don't care where you went to law school. I don't care what your grades were. That doesn't mean jack shit. It's like, what can you see yourself accomplishing? And then you're halfway there. Just do that work and shovel shit. And I think great things can happen,
To me, again, it really comes down to self-awareness, right? Like that, when you talk about vision blockers, people are vision blockers of their own vision and they don't know it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you can remove all the vision blockers from your life except for yourself. Like you gotta get real and raw, like we talked about, and do the work yourself, right? Every time I look at something that goes wrong in my firm, I go, man, what could I do better? Where did I miss? That's been a big shift for me. But again, it all comes from that internal work you're talking about doing. Like it kind of changed the face of your firm. Like describe the leadership that you were in the day you had that deposition where you blew up.
You and I aren't friends if I was that same guy, because I wouldn't have been in a circle, a mastermind, had the foresight to join a mastermind, I wouldn't be able to connect with you today if I was that guy. Right. So again, untethering of these, vision blockers. But like you have to go through hard times. Like no successful entrepreneur, had it easy. It's supposed to be hard. But one thing I want to impress, and you know this, I know this, I just want to share with the audience that the business owner, if you're running a law firm, like everything is attributable to how you think, what goes on between your ears. Like you could look at someone departing to resignation. That could either be like a disaster, like, oh guys, we're screwed. Oh God, want ads, job ads out there. Where it's like, okay, this opportunity to pivot, this opportunity to grow, you mentioned Fireproof before. Mike Morris, his firm burned down. What did he do? He rebuilt it. He built it bigger and better. So
he's doing $300 million a year.
So it's all about what you think about and how you see things. And right now, Tom, I'm doing better at it, is seeing the good. I was always saying, you got to see the good. When you get knocked down as a business owner, whoever, I don't care what you're doing in life, for work, for pleasure, if you get knocked down, you get KO'd, you got to get up and look at weather that knockout. I'm stronger. I'm better now. Like, that's the key. Just keep getting up. I'm too dumb to quit, man.
Dude, I don't think you're dumb at all, man. I mean, listen, it's funny because now that we're all in the same circles for a longer period of time, I have seen evolutions of people personally.
Yeah.
I have seen evolutions of people professionally. I have seen people that have really blown up professionally, but I can still see the unresolved stuff within them and them not happy at very high revenue levels, right?
Yeah.
But I've also reached a level of wisdom that you can't pontificate to people about this stuff. It's got to come to them in their own time, their own way.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me how your background and your journey led you to become a personal injury lawyer and then take the leap to become a law firm owner, which is a much different journey, which a lot of people that might listen to this may not understand the difference. You can be a great PI attorney and not be a strong leader.
All right. So became a PI lawyer, got out of law school, Tom, in 2004, couldn't get a job. You can't be a business owner without being risk tolerant. You have to have a steel stomach at times, frequently, almost every day.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
So that trauma, you look at that, it's like, oh, he got through that. How much worse could it be running a business? Like, when you see darkness, Tom, when you witness that, it's like, well, okay, got over that. Like, what's next? And like running a business is hard, but it's not so as challenging as other things that life throws at us. So
Absolutely.
That resilience, I try to lead into it and take big bets and take chances and roll the dice and live with it. Just do the right thing and let the chips fall. But you have to, that's not for everyone, right? I mean, it's for you and I. We speak that language and that's great, but that's no better or no worse. That's just what we do. But if you're an attorney trying cases, that's awesome. Like, do your thing, right? Lead into what you're good at. But I've always stressed, don't try to be someone you're not. I'm not trying to be the trial lawyer because I don't want to be the trial lawyer. I want to be the business owner that employs the trial lawyers and creates an environment for them to succeed and flourish and have a good life. That's sort of the third thing we talked about, right? Living the life you want. That's just not limited to me. That's for my staff. So again, this is sort of like a progression. You got challenge early in life, allows you to take on risks. When you take on risks and things fall into place, you can create a life for yourself that's happy and gratifying. That allows you to open up space to help others, perhaps, right? Maybe they're at a job they hate. They want to be in a better environment, better culture, right? They're looking at, that's my obsession, creating the happiest, healthiest law firm, culture driven. So I see those three things as kind of being tied together. You can't have one without the other, I feel like.
I agree 100%. I think that it's interesting the way you framed a lot of the topics that we're going over. Living the life you want to live, right? That looks different for everybody.
What I do, Tom, I do quarterly conversations and I ask, how would you rate the culture here? How can I do better? Right? And just showing that sincere desire. Because again, you got to remember, I come from dysfunction junction here, right?
Right.
I want that. I want healthy. I want thriving, healthy culture. And I'm frankly obsessed with that. And that's what I pour myself into. So, and my team, they know about my story. So just trying to create a healthy place, a caring place. Because at the end of the day, to me, it's about team first and then client second. Because it has to be that way or else it's not going to flow. It has to be, I work on the team. That's my focus. I pour myself into that. Then it's like, okay, this is what we set up here. I expect you to pour that into the service of the client, right? And so we have this nice system of people being happy. And again, it's always hard. Like, it's not like, oh, it's like perfect law from here. Like, Earley Law Group is a work in progress every day.
Listen, I've always known you were one to watch. How old are you? You're in your 40s.
I'm 47. You're good for 57, man. Holy
well, dude, but you're 10 years behind me and you're the one to watch. Like, I know what you're going to be doing in 10 years. No, I'm serious. You're in a major market. You're doing fantastic. You're constantly looking to grow between the ears, like you said. But again, look, you're super humble. You're willing to humble yourself and say, I got work to do, or I'm confused, I don't know what to do, and you're working on the stuff between your ears. That to me is the telltale sign. For anybody that's listening to this, because we know a lot of law firm owners on the journey that are in their late 20s, early 30s.
I just want to underscore, you have to be willing to shed your old, you have to be evolving like you're always leveling up. You're never, the same time. You're always like making improvements, Kaizen, daily small improvements. You're still grateful, but you have this insatiable ambition, right? That's palpable with you. I'm the same way. So just trying to enjoy the journey while still being hair on fire, ambitious, and trying to lean into what really matters, which is gratitude and just being here. But you have to go through the ugly. You're going to lose people. You're going to, people are going to try to, weigh you down more. Like, you have to keep going, man. I feel like I have a PhD in like just the need to get this stuff off your chest and process these things, work through these things, It's so, you have to.
You can't build anything till you build yourself, till you figure out who you are and what's holding you back.
I just want to highlight to the audience, like, you and I have talked very little about running a business because it doesn't matter unless your head is right, unless your emotions are balanced, right?
Don't just listen to the podcast. Take inventory of your emotional life, because that's where your next level of leadership starts. That's where your next level of financial success really starts. It comes from fixing the stuff that's broken in you.
Yes.
Right. Well, and Chris, dude, thank you.
No, thank you. I mean it. Seriously.
Yeah. So, man, I appreciate you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Lead Counsel Podcast. Your host, Tom Tona. Go anywhere podcasts are distributed. Follow us. Leave us a 10-star review. Share some episodes with your friends. And thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you. This episode is sponsored by TonaLaw. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. TonaLaw is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out TonaLaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you. This episode is also brought to you by Meet Gabby, the voice AI built for law firms. Gabby answers your phones 24/7, qualifies leads, and books consultations so you never miss another client. Imagine cutting intake time in half while giving every caller a 5-star experience. That's the power of Meet Gabby. Learn more at meetgabby.com. Mention the Lead Counsel Podcast. You can also hit me up, and I'm glad to make an introduction to the owner.